Hello, friends. It's Thursday. That means it's time for the Tarot Topics newsletter recap. Tarot Topics comes into your inbox on Wednesday. We come on here Thursday and talk about it. There are links in the description to subscribe to the newsletter and to read this week's edition. This week, our topic is good fences, which of course comes from the poem Mending Wall by Robert Frost, wherein he, a farmer, goes out to mend the stone wall that has fallen down, and he's doing it with his neighbor. So they're mending the wall between them. And what the neighbor says is, good fences make good neighbors. Now, of course, this is a metaphor for boundaries. And that's what we're here to talk about, boundaries. And my whole theory is, when we have good boundaries, we have better relationships. Because if we don't have boundaries, we're just at the mercy of everybody. And we can't feel safe in a relationship unless we know we're capable of setting boundaries and the person we're with is capable of respecting them, and vice versa. So that's what we're here to talk about. I will say, too, that this time next week, I will already be at the hotel, Delta by Marriott, setting up for StaarCon 5. So a reminder that StaarCon 5 is January 24th, 25th, and 26th in West Palm Beach and online on Excel Events. The marketplace is free to attend. You can join us 10 to 6 any of the 3 days to shop and have readings and say hi in the marketplace at no charge, or get a ticket and come join us. All right. Let's get going. We're going to hop right on over to CardCam. So good to see all of you. I will, as you know, take these in the order in which I see them. And as you can see, y'all know what it means when you see this deck. What does it mean when you see this deck? It means I am lazy and I am just doing what I'm doing. Jackie Masters, cannot wait to see you in a week. I mean, that's a lot of this, right? Like in a week, I'll be seeing all y'all. Or at least in a week and a day. Cannot wait. Hey, Joanne Ball, good to see you. Oh, I see. You've changed your name. You're Joe One. I know you. So glad you're here. Right, Jeannie, it's my easy peasy deck. Yeah, that's what I need. All right. Taking this in the order in which I see you, starting with you, Jeannie Mnuchin. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than 3 years. In relation to the newsletter, I've been thinking about the relationship between boundaries and trust. I seem to spend quite a while before I let down my guard to trust. This is strongest in groups and romance where there are historic wounds. How can I heal issues of trust so that boundaries are healthy and not defensive? Oh my gosh, that's smart. That is a smart question. Okay, how do you do it? In the end, you trust yourself. And I think this is a huge problem, is that when someone, like in a relationship, when someone doesn't treat us right, we blame ourselves. In a group situation, if we are not welcomed appropriately, again, we blame ourselves. We need, I think, to be able to have trust, because you can't necessarily trust that other people aren't going to be a-holes. They might be. And so you have to trust yourself to deal with it. And you have to trust yourself to see it quickly. And so trusting in relationships is not really about trusting the other person as much as it is trusting yourself. And that, I think, is what it comes down to for you and for all of us. That's what it comes down to. Trust your ability to not take it personally if people are going to be a-holes. Trust your ability to make wise decisions about how you conduct yourself. And there it is. All right. And, Baby Cake says something here. I love this topic, and it's so hard to enforce at times, especially in the family and relationships and in the workplace. And the thing is this. If you have people it's hard to enforce because we haven't been trained to have the language. We haven't been trained to say kindly, Yeah, no, no. We haven't been trained to do that in a kind way. We don't have the language. And yeah, death reversed part, Jeannie, is in being confident in your unchanging and unwavering goodness, talent, and basic nature. That's how I would see it. Yes. Yes. So here's the thing. If we're finding that boundaries are hard to set because we don't have the language, that takes practice, right? Because we weren't trained for it. But if we find boundaries are hard to set because other people push back, that tells us a lot about those people. And if it's in the workplace and it's your boss, I mean, you kind of have to do what you got to do to keep your job. But in relationships where the power differential, like where we're of the same power, where it's a lateral thing, where it's lateral power, and a person will not accept boundaries, that is a red flag. And I do not care if it is family or friend or who it is. It is a red flag and we need to pay attention to that. That's really clear to me. All right. Hey, Joyce Ocean, thank you. Okay. Melissa, so good to see you. Cannot wait to see you at StaarCon. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than 3 years. Thanks for using members only emojis. I have traditionally had terrible boundaries. This is shifting ever so slightly. Well, any kind of shift is a good shift. How can I strengthen my boundaries with kindness without feeling guilty about saying no to things? Man, I could say so much to this, but I'm just going to let the cards do the talking here. So, strengthen your boundaries with kindness by reminding yourself that where you were taught not to have boundaries, those people do not have great relationships, right? That great boundaries make great relationships. Good fences make good neighbors. It's real. And by knowing that, by knowing how well you will be served by having and enforcing boundaries, like you can't not, so you got to know that. And then the guilt part about saying no, well, you're going to feel guilty. I think what we have to do is recognize you might feel guilty because you're trained to feel guilty, but now you're going to train yourself that when the guilt comes in, you're going to be like, sit down, be quiet, you're silly, so you'll still feel guilty, but you'll be able to shut it down quickly. And then after practice, that gets better. That's what I think. Okay. Barbie Bird, thanks for being here. And man, this is how you do it. Because on Thursdays, we do a different topic every week. And sometimes it's easier to come up with a question than others. And so Barbie's got this down. I'd love some advice from Spirit on this topic, right? You can use that any Thursday. Okay, so Barbie Bird, thanks for being a member for more than a year. Barbie, I think you're getting really good at feeling the need to set boundaries and setting boundaries. It may be different from your training. And there may be people who are made angry by it, but oh well, that's their problem. And there may be ways you feel guilty, but you're actually getting really good at this. And this is going to help you make so many great new relationships. Like this is your way toward a better social life. Better boundaries will bring you a better social life. Seriously. Amy Foreman, I'm so good with boundaries and romance. It's my blood relatives I do not know what to do with oftentimes. Yeah, and I think that's true for a lot of us. And that's because, you have to sort of decide what is true for you about blood relatives. Like some people believe that blood relatives mean everything. And if it's your blood relative, you have to be there for them because that's what family does for family. And other people are like, yeah, no, I did not choose that. No, if my blood relatives do not treat me with respect, I have no need to interact with them any more than any other human. You can probably guess which side of that fence I fall on, right? I'm definitely the latter, not the former. I don't think blood requires anything, right? I think family social contract requires something. If I have a baby, I better take care of my baby, or make sure my baby's taken care of. But I don't think the fact that we happen to share DNA means anything, necessarily. But your mileage may vary. And I think for all of us, that's what we have to figure out. So I will look forward to that. Trey, there are many relatives I simply don't talk to anymore. Yeah, exactly. Okay, let me get back to the list. I just had to comment my opinion on that because it's such a, everybody deals with that, right? Unless you're really lucky to have just such a great family where there's no question about it. It's a thing. Okay, Gemini Sun, so good to see you. Thanks for being a moderator. I thought I was pretty good at setting boundaries, but I find myself disappointed a lot around this topic. Are my boundaries too strong or too weak? Your boundaries are not expressed in a way that people understand them. Your boundaries are not clear enough. You will do better, you know what the boundary is in your mind and you know what you think you've asked for, but a lot of times the other person doesn't hear it. So I think it's a communication issue that will fix it. Okay, Trey Cameron, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than a year. Boundaries are a tricky subject for me, partly because I'm autistic. I think it's been really hard for me. But as I've gotten older, I think I've gotten better at it. Any advice for me on this subject? Well, you absolutely have gotten better at it. And I think the thing with being on the spectrum is people on the spectrum don't necessarily read social clues. There's a lot of boundaries that are stated by body language and things of that nature. And people on the spectrum don't necessarily know how to do that naturally, but you can learn. And I feel the other thing, though, having nothing to do with your particular neurology, I feel like the family that you're in has had some sharp edges on it, too. So I think you've gotten very, very good at learning. Trey, reading people perfectly has been hard for me, right? My intuition has been the main guide for me. Yeah. You are not alone. You would not probably be surprised by how many in our community are either fully diagnosed or suspecting, somewhere on that spectrum. It happens because, and that's why, I can do a phone reading as easy as I can read for you sitting in front of me because your body language is not going to tell me that much. Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yes, I've actually wondered if being neurodivergent is what heightened my psychic ability. Yeah. Wendy, diagnosed 2 years ago. Yeah, see, there it is. I really feel yes, absolutely. I think it's a thing. So Trey, I think you've gotten very, very good at this, but it is because of that intuitive thing. Most certainly. And I think Spirit's advice for you, I think at this point, between how you've trained yourself to pay attention and your intuition, you can trust yourself pretty well to know what you need to say and when you need to skedaddle. I think you've got it. Okay. Wendy Robeson, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than 2 years. Thanks for being a moderator. We appreciate you. What boundaries do I need to have that I have not set? I think it's boundaries with yourself. I think that sometimes you can be self-deprecating and self-recriminating in a way that doesn't serve you. I think you need to set a boundary with yourself to speak nicely to yourself. Okay. Martha Vink, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than a year, and thanks for using members-only emojis. Ha, Wendy, there you go. Ha ha. All right. Martha Vink, here we are. What boundaries might you need to strengthen? I think with people, you know how to handle your congregation, But I think with friends, family, love, like people who are close, you have to be able to speak your truth and not fear their disappointment. All right. Joanne Ball, Joe 1, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Which boundaries do I need to strengthen? I think it's around other people's expectations of you. I think people get expectations of you for no good reason, and you feel like you need to honor those expectations, and you don't always. Okay. All right, Baby Cakes, good to see you. Thanks for being here. I love this topic because it's so hard to enforce. Okay, right. Lots of practice, still working on it. I didn't see the question there, so I'm guessing the question's coming later, and that's fine. Amy Foreman, you're up next. Right, I've already addressed what you had to say because it is so prevalent for so many people. Thanks for being a member for more than 2 years. Okay, so how to deal with relatives. And obviously, kids you have a responsibility for. So first of all, boundaries with your kids. You know, the problem is, I think at this point, your kids are at a place where essentially money, actions, talk. Like, I feel like with the kids, the boundaries, can't so much be about attitude. They have to be about, like, either you do this, you pay this, you do this. Like, it's got to be like just very real world with the kids. With other family members, family of origin family members, I think there can be this idea that you are beholden in ways that you aren't, but then there's the question of, like, how much do I want to do? And so it goes back exactly to what I was just saying off the top of my head in figuring out, like, what do you feel you're responsible for and what do you want to be responsible for? Not what other people tell you you're responsible for, because you didn't sign up for that. What do you want to be responsible for? I think that's the way that goes. Okay. Okay, Penny, for your thoughts. So good to see you. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for being a moderator. Time to have boundaries with the CPS. It's very difficult to not, so I'm assuming CPS is there, what it is here. It's very difficult not to have them walk all over the place. Monday, I have a meeting with another branch, and I wonder if he can help me a little with this, as the people are not to be trusted. Right. The question is, first of all, can this person you're going to speak with be helpful? Maybe. I mean, the thing is, you have to pretend you're up their asses. Like, you have to be strategic about this because they have some power behind them that you don't have. Like, there is a power differential here that is a problem. And so you have to be super strategic about how you do this because they can hurt you more than you can hurt them. And so you have to be very, very careful here. And I think a lot of this, like, know what your rights are, but even if you try to enforce your rights to the letter of the law, you could get some people upset, which could make them, like, it's tricky. This one's tricky. So be very, very careful with this. Oh, Amy, I'm glad that gives you good ideas to work with. Good, 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 good. Okay, Michelle Metheny, so looking forward to your presentation at StaarCon. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. We appreciate you. A card on boundaries for you. I think that people that you love get away with whatever. I really have that sense. And I'm not saying that like you don't discipline your kids or whatever, but I am saying that you're the person, if someone needs something, you're going to give it to them. And that's a beautiful thing. But sometimes like it's really hard to give it to them. And you have a hard time saying no when you need to. So there's that. That's something to think about. Baby Cakes, good to see you. How do I get better boundaries with my parents? Mainly for them to stop guilt tripping you about more frequent communication, where I prefer it to be sporadic. Well, here's the thing. They won't stop guilt tripping you because that is what they do and that's what they're trained to do. It won't stop. What you have to do is not let it work on you. Like if you don't listen, if you just hang up the phone, you know, and that's the thing. Like, if you talk to him about it and sort of say, you know, I don't like manipulation with guilt. So every time I hear you doing that, I'm just going to get off the phone or whatever. You can say that, but they won't understand it because they don't realize they're manipulating. They just think that's how communication is done in this family situation. That's their generational trauma. So certainly you can reward good behavior by having more conversations when they're not being like that, but you prefer low contact for a reason. And I would say lean into the fact that you are the gatekeeper here, that you have chosen low contact for a reason. You have no reason to feel guilty. I think you just have to lean into your choice and the reasons for the choice. There it is. Okay, so Dion, Joyous Ocean, did you have a question? You were thinking about a question. We have come to the end of the question, so it is last call. It is last call. Hey, Ness, good to see you. Jackie, good to see you. Yes. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members only emojis. Boundaries that you need to protect, some you need to put in place or remove. Very good. Very good. Let's see. And Jackie, specifically around what advice do your ancestors have about this? So we'll bring that energy in. All the boundaries, I think you have some good boundaries that you are right to protect. I really do. I really do. Are there boundaries that need to be removed? I mean, I think you have a hard time trusting people. And sometimes in your own head, they become guilty of what you fear they're going to do even before they are guilty of that thing. I don't know if that's really a boundary issue or not, but it sort of feels like one in a weird way. So I would say, like, keep yourself clear. Here it is. In thinking about relationships and boundaries and how you set them, do not let fear or anxiety be the factor that creates the boundary. Keep it very rational. Keep it very rational. And I think there are times where we can be fluid and times we have to be firm. And I think, Jackie, sometimes it's hard for you to know when you want to be fluid and when you want to be firm. So if you're not sure, you always have to be firm. But I think there are some people that have earned your trust to the point that you can be fluid. All right. Ness, it's good to see you. Madiha Ness, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than 2 years. How can I build better, healthier boundaries? by recognizing that you don't owe your energy to others. Like, I think there is a part of you that really sort of believes that you owe something that you don't owe. And that could be a cultural thing. It feels like misogyny to me. And just recognizing that there's a level of energy you do not owe to people on demand. You can choose to give it, but you don't owe it on demand. Jackie, you are very welcome. Teresa, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than 3 years. Thanks for being a moderator. Okay, regarding boundaries, what's good, what needs improvement for you? I mean, you've gotten so much better and you've really done your work. No notes. You're doing a great freaking job here, Teresa, I think. I think you're good. I think you're good. All right, so I think we are at last call. Anyone else who is here who has not asked a question and would like to, please do. Dion, excuse me, I'm looking at you, but there might be other people here as well. So in the description, you can subscribe to the newsletter. Please do. You can read this week's newsletter. You can become a member of this channel, and why wouldn't you? And you can learn about StaarCon, which is coming up January 24th, 25th, and 26th, West Palm Beach, Florida, and online. So check that out and plan accordingly. All right. I appreciate all of you so much. Oh, there's also a link to book a session with me. I am available for sessions right up to StaarCon. So just reach out and book your session, and I will look forward to seeing you there. Take good care and be good. I appreciate all of you so much.